We are back for the 8th season of the Virtual Drift Championship. For round 1 of this new season, we visit the infamous Portimao circuit in Portugal, which challenges drivers with high elevation changes and fast transitions. For this season, I'll be driving the new Team Heinze S14.9, powered by a Nissan GT-R VR38, which has been a very fun car to drive. We will hopefully have the S14.9 and my teammate Reese Tatterson's 37Z available for everyone to drive very soon. So make sure to keep an eye on all social medias when those cars drop. So my favorite part of the track, number 1, is the entry. Super fast, 4th gear initiation, fill the zone all the way to the end. Most important part here is to make sure you fill the zone all the way to the white line and don't drop a wheel over. Fill it all the way to the end. Fantastic part of the track. Second part is this, you hit this bump and you transition into the slowest part of the track. Super rewarding section here. Really able to get on the door of the driver, but you have to make sure you keep good momentum for that final transition so you can finish solid across the finish line. So here we go into qualifying for the first time in the VDC 2024 season. Run number 1 on the left, run number 2 on the right, and I have to say these runs were pretty good. A couple of improvements definitely to be made. There was definitely more points on the board, but you could see for the most part these runs are almost identical. A couple of different angle variations you might see on this part of the track right here. Run number 2 actually having a little bit less angle for that transition. So I definitely feel like run number 2 getting a 95.3. We were definitely doing things right, but we left some points on the board. And yeah, not a bad run. So here we go for our first top 32 battle of this season, up against Cameron Mustard and his R32 Skyline, and we're doing a really good job chasing Cameron through zone number 1, but he's right there with us in his chase run. He's really pushing us, and I want to use this comparison clip to really show that even though Cameron's chase was really good, we were still able to find areas in our chase run to do that a little bit better. And yeah, he really stuck it to us, but we had to make sure that we could do a better job, and with that we do get the win and move on to the top 16. So for top 16 we're going against Brandon Patrick and his 599 Ferrari as we flick it in super hard, and Brandon leaves a bit of a gap as we go down into clipping point number 3, but he does a really good job through 4 out of 5. He's right there with us as we transition down the back straight, and we're firing on angle everywhere, and Brandon's right there with us. Does a little surge to the door, gives a little tap which unsettles the balance of our car in the lead position, but we still manage to keep it on the track. Brandon gets back onto the door. Final transition, he hits us again as we cross the finish line. Not the chase run that Brandon wanted, I'm sure, but as we change positions, we flick it in with Brandon. We push him all the way through clip number 1. We transition super hard down the straight. We leave a bit of a gap, close back up a little bit, get back onto his door for the power alley down the straight. Was Manji down the straight here. Brandon doing a nice lead run for the most part, but we're right there with him all the way as we go through this final, second last transition, should I say. We're right there with Brandon doing a really clean chase run, not making any mistakes, not really taking any risks, and as he cross the line we get the win and move on to the grade 8. So for the grade 8 we've got Darius Ostrika and his BMW E92, the Urta E92. I've battled this car in the real world and now I've battled it in the sim world as well a couple of times in the past, but as you could see Darius doing a really nice job on the chase run. He's struggling for a little bit of proximity in places. I do think we have a bit of speed over him, and I think that's really hurting him here. As you can see, we half filled that zone, but we transition here into the slowest part of the track. Darius is nice proximity, not taking crazy risk, right there with him. Is he with us? So yeah, not a bad run there from Darius. We're going to swap positions here. We're going to chase in Darius super hard here. We really need to stick it to him. And I have to say, I remember being a little bit surprised by how Darius was a little bit slower than I was expecting. Yeah, I was a gear lower than what I was, wanted to chase, and we still managed to make it work. But I was quite surprised, not like Darius to be, that little bit on the slower side of what we're used to. But as you can see, we're really pushing him here as you go to the slowest part of the track. We're really applying the pressure here. I think we're really showing a nicer job in our chase run. And yeah, that's enough for us to get the win and move on to our first top 4 of the season. So for our first battle of the top 4 is against Artem Cholkov and his FDRX7 as he flicks it in super hard with us. He pushes us through turn number 1 as we go through transition number 1, through clip number 2 into clip number 3. He's right there with us still as we fill all the zones with Manji down the straight. A little bit of a gap performed there from Artem, but he closes back up the door once again, and we pile on the angle into the slowest part of the track. As Artem really sticks to us, he really does a nice transition on the final time across the finish line. Not a bad chase run there from Artem, really solid. We're going to have to push hard here for our chase run, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to flick it in hard here with Artem Cholkov as we push it to his door And yeah, really nice job there for myself. I feel like we really maximized the points there. But of course, Artem's super fast in his FDRX7. Especially down the back straight here. He's really quick, so we have to make sure we stick it to his door, which we do. We do a really nice job, but we have a little bit of a contact there, which didn't seem to upset Artem too much. And we do a nice transition once again across the finish line. Artem pulls a tiny bit of a gap, and that call was too close to call. We go one more time on that one, which I felt we could have actually done enough to get that one. I think we were a little bit more aggressive in areas, but obviously that contact was enough to settle it, even though I still feel that that we did enough. But yeah, judges feeling that we should move on and go one more time. So yeah, the judges feeling a one more time call is necessary to settle it between Artem Shulkov and myself. And here we go, flick it in one last time. Who's going to get it? We hit Artem and we push him off the track in our chase run. Artem keeps it nice and clean in his chase run. And yeah, that sealed our fate pretty much. At this point, I got nothing to lose. I decided to push as hard as humanly possible to see if I could make Artem make a bigger mistake than what I made in my chase run. I hit him again, and yeah, we called it a bit too late there. And crossing the finish line, Artem gets the win and moves on into the finals. And we have a third, fourth place battle playoff. And against Element, we go for our first third, fourth place playoff battle for 2024 this season. Alex and Element right on our door as we go through transition number 1, through clip 2 into clip 3. Element finally gets back onto our door once again, down the back straight. Element doing a nice job mimicking our angle, mimicking our transitions. And he gets nicely onto the door once again, not taking crazy risk. Element really showing that he's patient, you know, trying to get a nice clean chase run here, put the pressure on us so that we make the mistake in our chase run. But I know Element was super fast on this track, and we were making sure massive risk on initiation. Look at the door-to-door action, really pushing it to his door. We pulled a massive gap down the hill, but we managed to close it up with no braking, no deceleration, and we hang onto his heels as he goes down the back straight once again. We stick it back to his door once again. Super lucky this trace run. I feel like Element was one of the fastest cars on track all competition and managed to pull it out of the bag to get a nice clean chase run on him, taking massive risk. And that is enough for us to get third place in the first round of the 2024 VDC Round 1. Super excited for this event. Really happy for our first podium this season. So yeah, it's been a while since we've done one of these videos, and hopefully we'll continue again with the season ahead. Super excited to be back doing the VDC season. A long season ahead. Wish us best luck. We'll see you guys next time.